Oh boy. Well, I can't say I didn't see this coming. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones reinstated on X after Musk poll. Reminder, by the way, this is happening after Elon Musk tweeted, I believe it was something along the lines of, I will never reinstate Alex Jones. I watched my own newborn child die in my hands. Anyone who would weaponize the deaths of children for political gain or for their own gains is lower than garbage to me, I believe is what he said. A rare W from Elon when he said that, except it was a lie that he was holding the baby when it died. That was actually his wife, one of his wives. And then on top of that, he's just gone back on it and brought brought Alex Jones back onto the platform. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. He's just a liar and not even consistent. He can't keep the promises he makes. This is from Reuters, by the way, but I actually haven't looked much into this story. I know the basics of it already. But let's go ahead and brush up on things, huh? We've actually got a video that goes along with this news story. Nice. I love when these news stories come with a video.
Elon Musk, in a post on his social media platform X, said on Sunday that the account of right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has been reinstated. The return of Alex Jones to the site formerly known as Twitter comes after a poll organized by Musk backed his reinstatement after a ban of nearly 5 years.
So, I feel like the success of Alex Jones is kind of a perfect example of how the marketplace of ideas does not really successfully filter out the crazies, you know? Like, a lot of people who are super anti-deplatforming, and I used to be like this, okay? I understand why people are like, I only believe you should ever deplatform in the most insane niche of scenarios. Like, I get why people's first inclination is to lean towards that. I understand that. However, what I found over the years is that regardless of how insane and provably false someone's ideas are, they can find enormous amounts of success online for the sake of spreading their awful, horrible, wrong ideas, no matter how many times they're debunked, no matter how many lawsuits they receive that bankrupt them, they can always recover because they have a very strong grassroots supporter base that will always flood them with donations. And they always come back, right? Very, like, it obviously, more often than not, these people fizzle out into nothing. But people like Alex Jones, the worst of the worst, Alex Jones is never going anywhere. Unless Alex Jones is, like, criminalized, like it becomes a crime for Alex Jones to broadcast himself online in any way, shape, or form, and he has, like, police monitoring him, he will always have some corner of the internet he can inhabit. And once he has that corner, his fans will always be loving and, like, worshipful enough that they follow him. Like, he'll literally have to actually die is the only other scenario in which Alex Jones pitters out. And even then, Alex Jones will have, like, his clips being reposted by fans for, like, decades to come, you know? And the same is true of people like Nick Fuentes, who, and let's be clear, Nick Fuentes has seriously fallen off. Nick Fuentes saw a enormous explosion of growth with his friendship with Kanye, and did not capitalize on it all that well. I thought Nick Fuentes was going to be, like, one of the biggest political pundits in the world when he was on Alex Jones with Kanye. And he just completely squandered that opportunity. And now he's back to just being, like, a pretty big Nazi streamer, but still pretty niche. And not even as big as he was back in, like, 2020, you know? So it just kind of feels like most of these people do pitter off on their own just out of sheer disinterest from their own audiences in the same way any other content creator does. But Alex Jones has built a media empire with, like, branding and companies, and he has a history in radio and, like, a long established, like, fundamental core fan base that will never leave him because he entered the scene insane and crazy. There's no, like, whoa, we just exposed Alex Jones for some really bad shit and now all of his fans are leaving him. He will always be able to fall back on an audience of people that are so reverent towards him that he could just say, anything is fake news and a lie by the media trying to silence him. I think another person who did this pretty successfully was Russell Brand. Used to be a pretty big like celebrity, like a mainstream celebrity, but then like became disgraced and became like a right-wing conspiracy theorist on YouTube. Got some bad allegations about him, and his entire defense was just like, the media is trying to silence me. And the allegations didn't really harm him. He's still around to this day, doing just fine from last I saw. So it seems like people like this, unless they're literally fully deplatformed, will always be able to fund their insanity and grow their like ideology to more people. And some people think that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. I mean, we've seen multiple undeniable cases in which ideas spread by figures like Alex Jones, like online radical right-wing figures, have led to real-world harm that is quite serious. Obviously, the go-to example with Alex Jones is the families of the Sandy Hook victims being harassed by his fans, despite him going back and forth on whether or not it was really a fake thing all along, multiple times, and even multiple times admitting that he had just made it up, but then going back to saying it, which is part of why he lost the case so hard. Alex Jones basically, sent all that harassment. There was no other outcome that could have happened from what he said about those families than the harassment that they received. He might as well have outright told them to do it, as far as I'm concerned. However, there's been scenarios like the Christchurch shooter. The largest mass shooting in New Zealand's history ever was by a mass shooter who was inspired by alt-right Nazi memes on the internet. When you read his manifesto, it's literally nothing but 4chan memes and like internet Nazi memes, and he makes references to several large far right-wing figures of the time. So while it's not super duper common, the fact that it happens at all, that these people with such insane beliefs are able to get away with keeping a platform and radicalizing an audience to the point where some of them go all the way and hurt people in real life, it's a real concern. There's not like an impenetrable wall between the internet and the real world that makes it so things said or done on the internet have no bearing on the real world, and things said and done in the real world have no bearing on the internet. They're practically one and the same at this point, as far as like the government is concerned, as far as employers are concerned, as far as frankly most people judging you in the court of public opinion are concerned. The internet is the real world, and the real world is the internet. That's how people treat it.
Close to 2 million votes were cast by the time the poll closed, with about 70% voting in favor of restoring the @RealAlexJones account. Soon after reappearing on the platform, Jones began accumulating followers. His account was permanently banned by the social media platform's previous owners on September.
Jesus Christ, 1.2 million followers as soon as he got... Well, I guess he might have had some of those followers before.
6th, 2018, citing violations of its behavior policies. The ban came weeks after...
You know who is also a really loud, arguer for Alex Jones to get unbanned? Like, actually had a back and forth with Elon Musk on Twitter to argue to get Alex Jones unbanned? Shoo. Okay, it's the only drama bit you guys get.
After Apple, YouTube, and Facebook took down podcasts and channels from Jones, citing community standards. Last year, Jones was ordered to pay nearly $1.5 billion in damages to relatives of victims in the Sandy Hook school shooting.
The fact is, he could actually be personally bankrupted down to the last penny, and he would still recover a substantial, comfortable living from his fan base if he just had to rebuild from the ground up as far as his finances go. Like, within 5 years, he'd be quite wealthy, like very wealthy, within 5 years already.
Falsely claiming they were actors who staged the tragedy as part of a government plot to seize Americans' guns. Since Musk took over the social media platform, X has reinstated other previously suspended accounts, including that of former President Donald Trump. Musk has since sought to reassure...
You know, I will say, Donald Trump's reaction to getting unbanned from Twitter was actually pretty Giga Chad. Donald Trump straight up said, "No, I don't care.
I've got my own social media site now. I like it way better. All my fans are there, and they give me nothing but accolades. Fuck Twitter.
And he just, like, hasn't posted since he got unbanned, as far as I know. Has he? Because, like, the last I heard, Trump was like,
yeah, no thank you,
to Elon when he got unbanned. Rare Trump W, actually. TBH, I think he'll be back once he gets the nomination. Yeah, I'm surprised, though, that he's resisted the pull of Twitter for this long. He doesn't post. He posted a few come to my rally, but no personal stuff. To be fair, that's probably an intern using his account then if it's just, like, self-promotion posts and no obviously Donald Trump posts, you know? Then he's not using Twitter if there's no obviously Trump posts. He can't control himself when he's on that platform. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, unironically, based of Trump to do that.
Assure users and advertisers that
God,
such
so
a decision
cringe.
would be made with the consideration of a content moderation council. But Musk has gone from seeking to reassure advertisers to cursing them out.
He's so cringe and awkward. He thinks, like, okay, my mom had never seen a single Marvel movie before, and just the last couple days I got her into the MCU, so we've seen, like, Iron Man 1 and, like, 3/4 of Iron Man 2. We fell asleep because it was late while we were watching Iron Man 2. But she's always heard, like, the Elon Musk is the real world Tony Stark comparison, and she hates Elon Musk, by the way. And you know, she doesn't know what that means because she doesn't, like, know who Tony Stark is. But we watch those movies and she's like, oh my God, Elon Musk does want to be this guy and he fails at it so much. Like, doesn't this remind you of the scene where Tony Stark, like, comes onto stage at that expo and it's like, you know, he comes off as cool, if not narcissistic and chauvinist, but Elon Musk is trying to pull that vibe off and failing spectacularly at it. And it's actually really embarrassing. Let's watch that again. Let's just watch his little jig he's doing. Dude, look how cringe that is. That's actually embarrassing. The amount of false confidence you have to be able to, like, go on stage and look at a crowd while you do this is insane. But to be fair, all of the people in the audience are yes men. They don't recognize the cringe.
To reassure users and advertisers that such a decision would be made with the consideration of a content moderation council. But Musk has gone from seeking to reassure advertisers to cursing them out. The billionaire unleashed a profanity-laden tirade against advertisers that have fled X over anti-Semitic content. The F-bombs flew at a New York Times DealBook event last month after Musk apologized for an anti-Semitic post he reshared that falsely claimed members of the Jewish community were stoking hatred against white people with the comment, quote, "You have said the actual truth."
Yeah, totally. It was a mistake. He didn't mean to type out that entire sentence and reply to that tweet and then post it and then keep it up for a while and then like the replies. That was an accident. He misclicked. It was a complete misclick, guys. Complete misclick. Dude, I love when these news stories just have a video that makes it so you don't have to read the article. That's fucking awesome. I love that. But dude, Alex Jones is one of those people who I genuinely believe has crossed the line far enough that they deserve to be 100% deplatformed off the internet. Like, all of their sources of like making money off the internet shut down. Like, the dude should have to get a job somewhere else. And I've heard people make the argument that this is hypocritical for a lefty to believe. That, like, lefties claim no one should be homeless, no one should be destitute, but then, like, there'll be a really bad Republican, really bad conservative who does something bad, and they throw all of their beliefs of rehabilitative justice right out the door, and like, they're completely hypocritical there, right? And I've been accused of this before. There's a certain point where I think principle is overridden by practicality, right? Like, if I want to keep to my principles 100% of the time, for example, like, let's say you believe lying is bad, right? And you want to keep, like, you believe that principally, lying is bad, it's always bad, right? But then your best friend who is going through, I don't know, like a medical thing and looks really rough. That's what you think to yourself when you see him. Comes up to you and asks, how do I look? Now, there's nothing they can do to make themselves not look all rough, so you decide you don't want to hurt their feelings, and you lie to them and say, looking good, let's go. That's obviously a lie. You're obviously breaking your fundamental principles there, But in that scenario, I think most people can agree that it's not hypocritical to say lying is bad, but then to lie in a scenario like that, right? In cases where someone is so bad that they've demonstrated they genuinely don't care about preserving like a basic fundamental care for human life and like preserving of like there's a certain set of fundamental beliefs that you would hope every human has, that like everybody, the maximum amount of people possible should be made happy, that we should try to minimize the amount of suffering. Like you hope that as many people as possible share these beliefs. But many people are genuinely narcissistic, selfish, mentally ill, or just out there enough that they don't care about these things, and they only care about self-serving means, like making money for themselves, growing their own audience, building their own political agenda, whatever it may be. And that is the type of person I think Alex Jones is. Just through and through. That is the type of person I think Alex Jones is. I don't believe that he is repentant for any of his poor actions. I don't believe he will ever stop committing these actions that cause harm. And I believe that as long as he has avenues open to access the internet in such a way where he can build a massive audience, make money, and influence people, he will continue to do these things. Many people are not that bad, even if they're bad online, and don't deserve that level of deplatforming. Alex Jones has genuinely crossed that line. Genuinely. And I don't extend that standard to many people. And as far as like his income being taken away to the point, I don't want him to be homeless or anything like that, but I certainly don't think he should be able to afford like a drawer of luxury Rolexes off the dime of spreading misinformation, conspiracy theories, and right-wing propaganda after the things he did, and the things that he is likely to do, considering how unrepentant he is. It's just, how I feel. You can call me hypocritical for it. I'm open to that conversation, but, I'm not going to pretend like people don't call that out, but it's the standard that I have when it comes to deplatforming. When someone's gone that far that they've actually caused real world harm and not like internet harm, that's when we got to start having a conversation about whether or not they should be deplatformed for the greater good.